Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Holloman again, and I'm really excited about this presentation because it's about the power of point of view. As you shape these call to action opinion pieces, point of view is so powerful. And Mary Piper talks about the three basic positions you can have as a writer. So as we move through this PowerPoint, you may think to yourself, okay, I need to really change my pronouns because I thought I was this person, but maybe I'm this person. So I hope you enjoy this idea of change writing and point of view. So the three basic positions that Mary Piper teaches us is that anytime you write, especially when you're writing these call to action opinion pieces, you're either an insider or you're an educated outsider. You're not part of the community, but you're really educated to the point where you can speak into it. Or you're a connected critic, meaning you're part of the community, but you're also outside of it enough that you can speak into it. Now, it's kind of subtle, so as we move through, I think you'll understand more. So first, though, Mary Piper says, as you become an advocate for other people, and that's really what change writing is about with opinion pieces, she says this is really helping you wrestle with your deepest questions, like, what groups am I a part of? What deserves my attention? For whom am I responsible? It seems like an easy thing that we're doing, but it's deeply personal when you think about what pronoun you want to use as you write. Before we get into the pronouns, though, Mary Piper has some warnings, and I wanted to address them because some students react when they read this in the book. She says nobody cares if you're offended, and self-righteous and angry writing tends to be ignored. Now, just as a word of caution, I do believe in protest. I do believe in the power of ranting and maybe angry writing. But I let myself listen to Mary Piper as a therapist and someone deeply invested in how the mind changes, how we change our minds. And while there's a place for the angry, self-righteous writing, readers do tend to ignore it, and it's not as persuasive as writing that doesn't condescend in that way. So I did think those were cool points in the chapter on point of view. So the first is the insider position, and that's when you're going to use I and we. So this is a student who wanted to write about how Penn State students don't get any sleep and the RAs don't abide by the quiet hours. So look at the pronouns. I studied, and then there's that hyperlink, the devastating effect of chronic sleep deprivation. She's talking about herself. My immune system, everything's going bad. I'm not getting enough sleep. And then we all need a better night's sleep. We need this. And look at that last line. It's time we all created our own quiet hours and devoted ourselves to a good night's sleep. How will we move forward? Now, Mary Piper would say the I and the we is the most effective form of change writing. And I know this even as a public speaker and someone who is always speaking and making kind of calls to action. It's much more effective when I say, I've experienced this and now we all can do this, as opposed to the you or they, as you will see. So the insider position is really, you're not separate from the people you wish to change. You're right in there with them. But the next is the educated outsider. This is when you're going to use the he, the she, the they. It is powerful, but you're not part of the group that you're wishing to change. So this is someone, same exact text, but changing the pronouns. So it's about a college student, her, she's going through this, and then it's the they. And look at the very end. When parents send noise canceling headphones, students get the sleep they need. It's time Penn State students create their own quiet hours and devoted themselves to a good night's sleep with the help of their parents. So it's very much, I'm outside of this, but I'm going to talk about it. So the educated outsider is outside of the population. And Mary Piper would say it's the hardest to pull off because it does come off a little judgy and condescending. I'm very careful in my own writing. Whenever I use the you, or the they, I think, oh my gosh, I've got to step back. I've got to change this to the I and the we. Okay, the last is the connected critic. This is someone who's part of the group they wish to change, but they're also distant enough where they can speak into it. So this is the you, but listen to what they say. So as a college student, you average 4 hours of sleep, but they insert themselves. I've been there. now I'm out of the dorm, I know what you're thinking, so I'm here, but I'm also separate. That's a really fun one to try. And that's kind of one you can toggle because you're talking to the you, but then you also incorporate, I'm part of this too. At the end, he says, my parents sent me noise canceling headphones. And ever since I become a new woman, it's time you create your own quiet hours and devoted yourself to a good night's sleep. So the connected critic, intimately involved, but detached enough you can look objectively. So think about this. Who's your audience? Are you part of this group, or are you just separate? Or do you feel educated enough to talk to your audience as an outsider? This could be if you have a call to action to a younger audience, but the pronouns all make the difference. And it's really exciting. Maybe you could write your piece and then rewrite the entire thing using a different pronoun and see how it comes off, see how it feels. It's really exciting to practice and try. So here's an example of it in practice. So someone wants to encourage voting. Imagine a world where no college students voted in elections. Or insider, imagine a world where we don't vote in elections. The connected critic, imagine a world where you never voted in an election like me. So just think about all the fun that you can have. And remember, I always have to end with, me by now, I always have to end with the verbs. As you're working on your pronouns, as you're working on thinking about that position, don't forget the verbs. Look at how you can strengthen these sentences. Imagine a world where no college students voted in elections. What about this? Imagine a world where college students forfeited their vote. That's powerful. What about this? Imagine a world where we don't vote in elections. This student wrote, cease contributing. Finally, imagine a world where you never voted in an election like me. Look at the revision. Imagine a world where you silence your voice and become an invisible citizen, where others choose for you in ways that violate your deepest held beliefs. Not voting muzzles you and me. So powerful. So consider your position, choose your pronouns, strengthen the verbs. That's going to be wonderful as you work on these very short pieces. And I hope you really enjoyed this fun presentation because it is a really effective trick in writing to just change up those pronouns and see the results that you get. Enjoy writing.